Hello everyone, today is 27th of February. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Now firstly friends, I want to convey my apologies as in last 3-4 days there was no newspaper analysis. The reason being that I was traveling outside and there was no internet connectivity. But now friends, I am back and it will be resumed as it was going earlier, that is from Monday to Saturday. You will be daily getting the newspaper analysis. And now guys, starting up with the today's newspaper analysis. So first of all, let's take the today's GS folder. So guys, today we will be taking a quote from William Fagge, who is a prominent physician and has also led a global strategy to eradicate the smallpox. He had talked about the vaccines. He says, vaccines are the tugboats of preventive health. Now guys, these days you might be hearing large number of terminologies such as vaccine nationalism, vaccine hesitancy, vaccine diplomacy, etc. And I expect that there might be a question onto these lines into the upcoming mains examination. So guys, please do use this particular quote into that type of questions. So that is for the today's new GS folder, and now let's take the newspaper analysis. Now guys, taking up the first article. This article has been taken from the Business Standard and it talks about the new rules that government has framed under the IT Act of 2000. Now before going into this particular article, first of all let's take some background information. So guys, we have seen into the past few days that the government believes that the social media is playing a very important role, and many a times the content that is being circulated onto them, it might be anti-national or it might be having some implication onto the national security. So therefore the accountability of these social media giants was to be asked, and therefore now government has framed these new rules. So first of all, these rules are called as the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rule 2021, and government have framed them by using their power given under section 87 subclause 2 of the IT Act of 2000. Now first of all guys, into these particular new rules, the government had said that there is a distinction between two type of social medias. One are the simple social media intermediaries and other are the significant social media intermediaries, and significant are those who have more than 5 million active users, and therefore the platforms such as the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., they will be called as the significant social media intermediaries. Now, taking up the broad things that have been provided into these new rules, first of all, it has been said that the due diligence is to be followed by the intermediaries. If they will not follow the due diligences, if they will not follow the government directives, government regulations, that they will not enjoy the safe harbor provisions provided under the section 79 of the IT Act. The section 79 provides the legal immunity to these social media intermediaries. So now what has been provided, these legal immunities have been subjected to the due diligence provided by the government. After that, it has been provided that these intermediaries also need to look into the grievance redressal mechanism, and for that a grievance officer will be appointed by them. The information of such grievance officer will be made available onto the public platform, and the responsibility of such officer is to acknowledge any complaint within 24 hours, and the complaint is to be resolved within the 15 days from the receipt of the complaint. Then guys, it has been provided that the dignity and the safety of the users is to be ensured. It has been said that if a complaint is raised that any of the content is exposing the private areas or is showing the partial nudity or the sexual acts of a user, then such kind of content is to be removed within the 24 hours, and such a complaint can be filed by an individual himself or herself or by any person on the behalf of that particular individual. Then guys, further additional due diligence from the significant social media intermediaries, that is having more than 5 million users, is to be ensured. It has been provided that there will be a chief compliance officer, a nodal contact person, a resident grievance officer, and all of them needs to be resident in India. Then guys, a compliance report monthly needed to be published, that what are the efforts that they are taking in order to resolve the complaint. Further, it has also been provided that the significant social media intermediaries, they also need to enable the identification of the first originator of the information. It means that sometimes the fake information is traveling and it is causing the panic into the people. Now, one message is being overshared and shared, but we many times are not able to trace that the first origination was from which person or which organization. So such kind of thing also to be enabled under the social media intermediaries. Then further, it has been provided that the requirement to trace the first originator of information is very much important when the information might have some implication for the sovereignty, integrity of India, for the security of the state, to maintain the friendly relation with the foreign states, public order, or if any information might incite the child sexual abuse or any such kind of things. Then, guys, further it has been provided that an intermediary has to remove the information if any order is given by a court or it is being notified by appropriate government or its agencies. Then, guys, further the rules for the news publishers and the OTT platform, that is the over the top platforms such as Netflix, etc., has also been made. First of all, the OTT platforms such as Netflix, they need to provide a self classification of the content. There are the 5 age based categories that has been provided. Number 1 is the universal, number 2 is the UA7 plus, then UA13 plus, now 7 plus and 13 plus is the age, then UA16 plus, and then the A adult. So the A category certificate can be given to the content which is having some explicit language. Now then, guys, parental locks are to be provided, that is the platforms need to provide such a facility where the parents can restrict the kind of a content that a children is seeing onto these OTT platforms. After that, the display rating are also to be provided. After that, guys, with respect to the news agencies or which are operating onto the digital media, also there have been the norms. It has been provided that they need to observe the journalistic conduct of the Press Council of India as well as the program code under the Cable Television Networks Regulation Act of 1995. Now, by following all these norms, a kind of a parity or a level playing field will be established between the offline as well as the TV media on one hand and the digital media onto the other hand, and accountability for them is will also be restored. Then, guys, the grievance redressal mechanism officer is also to be established by them. Precisely 3 level grievance redressal mechanisms has to be established. Now, guys, you don't need to go into the fine details as such hairline information is not needed for the UPSC examination. So, guys, these are the important rules that have been changed for the social media, OTT, as well as the news regulators. Now, guys, as these rules have come, there are some of the criticisms that are also coming. First criticism is that these rules are not framed under the legal competency. It has been said that such expensive rules cannot be made. Rather, through an amendment into the parliament, they should have been promulgated. Then the second criticism is this, that they are in conflict with the personal data protection bill that government is exploring. Under the bill, it has been provided that the private information cannot be shared with anyone without the consent, but the government is asking that if they want, then the first originator information is to be provided to them. So it is in conflict. Then, guys, further it has been provided that there also needed to be the right implementation of these rules and they need not to be abused just in order to enhance the state surveillance. And into this particular capacity, NASCOM has stressed that there needs to be the right implementation in both letter as well as spirit. So, guys, this is the kind of new change that has come. Guys, please do utilize such kind of information in your GS paper number 2 as well as in your GS paper number 3. So that is all about this article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Business Standard newspaper, and it provides that how majority of the nations are not able to fulfill the Paris climate goals or the Paris obligations. Now, before going into this article, let's take some of the background information. Now, guys, this year, that is the 2021, the COP26, that is the Conference of Party 26, will held into the Glasgow, Scotland, and will be hosted by the United Kingdom. Now, the United Nations before this 26th COP had asked the member countries that they should take the enhanced ambition. Now, guys, into the 2015, when Paris Agreement was signed, the target was taken that 1.5 degree to 2 degree Celsius reduction into the temperature is aimed. They will be aiming minimum 1.5 degree and in best case scenario 2 degree Celsius. But when we are making the assessment of the targets and their impact, then, guys, it has been seen that maximum 0.5 degree reduction can be made by the present speed and the present initiatives that has been taken. And, guys, into this particular capacity, nearly 75 nations had submitted their enhanced ambition targets, what new steps they will be taking. But the United Nations had said that even such targets will not be able to make a big dent, and even then the 0.5 degree Celsius reduction will be possible. So even much more is to be done. According to the IPCC, that is the Intergovernmental Panel onto the Climate Change, it has been said that the 45% reduction into the global emission is to be done by 2030 if the target of 1.5 degree till 2 degree Celsius reduction is to be achieved. Then further it has been provided that guys, around right now the governments are committed to invest trillions of dollars into their economy, but if that expenditure is oriented towards the green climate resilient measures, then there is a chance that we can reverse the trajectory of the climate rise and can go towards the sustainable development. So guys, that is all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. Guys, please do utilize this information into your GS paper number 3. That is all, and now let's move to the next article. Now, this particular article has been taken from the Indian Express as well as the Hindu newspaper, and it talks about the recent trend into the Indian economy that is going on. Now, guys, recently the quarter 3 economic data has been released by the NSO, that is the National Statistical Office. By the way, friends, NSO has been formed by merging the NSSO as well as CSO. Earlier, the CSO was given the task of giving the economic data, but now as CSO has been merged under the NSO, so now NSO does all this thing. Now, according to the NSO, it has been provided that in Q3, 0.4% economic growth into the GDP is being seen by India, and it is the first time that we came out of the technical recession that India entered. Now, technical recession is a phase when constantly into 2 quarters a nation sees the negative growth rate. And guys, into this particular respect, in quarter 1 there was negative 23.9% growth, and in quarter 2 there was 7.5% negative growth rate, and therefore the technical recession began. And now the positive 0.4% GDP is there, so we have exited out of it. And the finance ministry has called that it is a further strengthening of the prospects of the V-shaped economic recovery. And guys, this particular positive growth rate has been facilitated by 3 major sectors, that is the agriculture, which grew at 3.9%, then there is a manufacturing sector which grew at 1.6%, and then the construction sector which grew at 6%. But guys, even till now the major sectors such as the travel, tourism, etc. has not been improved. And guys, it will still take a year or so that they also exit from the technical recession. So guys, this is all about this particular article. Now guys, you don't need to go into the hairline details of such particular data, because as the time will pass, this particular data will also update. But guys, into a holistic perspective, you need to know that what has been the trends. So that is all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now friends, this particular article has been taken from the Indian Express newspaper, and it talks about the recent direction given by the Supreme Court in order to conduct the caste census for the OBC for upcoming 2021 census. Now guys, before going on to this particular article, let's see some of the background information. So you might be knowing that after every 10 years, India conducts the census. The last census happened in 2011, and the next census was to be conducted for 2021. Now guys, earlier it was decided that the data collection will begin in 2020 itself, but because of the pandemic it was postponed, and now in 2021 the data collection is going to begin. Now guys, when we talk about this 2021 census, then government will be collecting the information, and into the performa there are 32 columns which contains the details for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and the religions like Hindu, Muslim, Christianity, etc. But it is not asking any information for the OBC caste categories. And against this particular thing, a petition was made into the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court had said if the information for SC, ST, religion, etc. is being asked, then for the OBCs also the information is to be asked. Now the question comes that why such an information is to be asked, or what relevance it holds. So guys, it has been provided that in 1979-80, when the Mandal Commission gave its recommendation, it provided that there are 3,743 castes in India which are backward. And now guys, what had happened, only into the central list of OBC, there are 5,013 castes which are suggested to be backward. Now guys, apart from this, there are the state list also. So there are large number of the backward caste. And guys, there are the many of the developmental schemes which are talking talking about providing the reservation, providing the scholarships to these backward caste. Now guys, the reason is this, that in many of the states there are large number of OBCs, in some of the states there are the less number of OBCs. And guys, when the developmental schemes for the OBCs are to be concerned and the cost sharing is to be concerned, there is no good transparent formula that what percentage of money is to be given to which particular state. Sometimes the state having much more OBCs are getting the less money, and other states having less OBC population are getting much more money. So therefore we need to conduct a census and need to see that actually how many OBCs into which particular state are living, so that a better allocation of the resources or the finances can be made, number one. And number two guys, there are many the creamy layer OBCs also which are still reaping the advantages of the reservation. By having the data onto that, the such kind of things can also be removed. So for bringing the efficiency into the OBC reservation, the OBC oriented data is to be collected for 2021. Now guys, it has been provided into the article that earlier, the Madras High Court also asked the census department to carry out the caste-wise census. But guys, then in 2014, such kind of thing was kept aside by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court provided in 2014 that it is outside the domain of the judiciary. They cannot institute an inquiry that whether a government policy is wise policy, acceptable policy, or whether there could be an enhanced version. But now the Supreme Court, after giving the notice, had worked into the similar direction as the Madras High Court has ordered. So guys, this particular thing could be important for your GS paper number 2 under the topic of reservation or the affirmative action. So that is all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article has been taken from the Business Standard and it is one of the editorial, a very good editorial. You can utilize it in GS paper number 2 under the civil services reforms. Now guys, this particular article provides that a trifurcation into the IAS is very much needed to reform it. Now this particular suggestion is coming into the backlash. Guys, you might have heard into the past that the Prime Minister is coming down harshly onto the bureaucrats. He had said that the country cannot be given into the hands of the bureaucrats and new energy, new talent is to be explored. So guys, the reforms are needed. Now it has been provided that the bureaucrats are equated with the Harfan Mola, and the Harfan Mola means the one who can do all the things, all the tasks, a good generalist. But this Harfan Mola phase of Indian economy is over, and it has been provided that a trifurcation of the IAS is needed. Three verticals are to be created into the IAS. First of all, there will be the generalist who will be given the task of running of the districts, and there will be large number of IAS into this particular vertical. After that, there will be the second vertical, that is the specialist vertical. Here, only the IAS officers after completing the 10 year of their services can come, and they will be given one specific domain which they have served up till now. Then guys, there will be the third vertical which will be the smallest vertical. It will be the policy vertical, and here the IAS officers will be deputed to the state or to the center. It is based on to their preference, and there they will be working closely with the ministries, with the government, and will design the policies and schemes. Now guys, it has been provided into these two verticals, that is the specialist vertical and the policy vertical. The entry will be possible only after an exam that will be held for the IAS officers who had completed 10 year into this services, and only the best performers will be put into the specialist and the policy vertical. Then guys, further it has been provided that the officers who had went to these two verticals, they will serve for next 25 years here, and after that again they will be put into running of the districts where they can utilize their wisdom, their experience, their knowledge in better implementation of the schemes. Then it has been provided that the remaining IAS officers, that is A, either those who have not taken the exam, or B, who had taken the exam but they have failed, they will continue to work into the executions or the running of the districts. Now guys, further it has been provided that it is not a revolutionary thing that is being suggested. Rather, earlier there is also precedent which has existed. It has been provided that in 1953, the Jawaharlal Nehru started the industrial management pool. Into this, the specialized officers were placed which were having the experience or which will develop the wisdom in managing the industrial policies. However guys, eventually it was sabotaged or was taken up by the IAS officers here also. But again, onto the lines of the industrial management pool, we can develop the specialized services into the IAS also. After that, guys, further some more suggestions have also been given. It has been said that at the state level, the state needs to make an effort that how they can keep the talented IAS officers into the state cadre. Often it has been seen that the talented officers, they leave for the central deputation, and then the state is not having the talent into this capacity. The specialization at the level of the state is to be promoted, and routinely the state needs to provide the skilling, reskilling, upskilling into the IAS officers talent, so that they can be meaningfully engaged within the state only. Then further it has been provided that article number 311 into the constitution is also to be amended. Under article 311, it has been provided that apart from the three reasons, that is madness, depravity, and alcoholism, they cannot be removed. Guys, here the competence has not been put in ground, so therefore underperformers cannot be removed under article 311. So an adequate amendment is to be carried. So guys, this is all the suggestions that have been given into this particular article. Guys, very well, it can be utilized into your examination. So that is all about this article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, friends, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it talks about the recent decision given by the Session Court into the Delhi, where the magistrate had ordered the release of the Disha Ravi, the activist who was arrested by the Delhi police, onto the grounds that she had edited a toolkit and had facilitated into the riots that was done into the Delhi onto the 26th of the January. The court has ruled that the evidence presented by the Delhi police is the sketchy. Now, into this particular judgment, the Delhi court has utilized the rule provided into section 124A itself. The guys, section 124A was talks about the sedition, and it has been provided in section 124A that the act involved must constitute a threat to the public order and incitement to the violence. Now guys, the judge had found that into the toolkit or the document that was shared, there is no evidence that it had incited the violence. Thus the evidences provided by the Delhi police are very much vague, and the entire case is nothing but the reflection of the government paranoia. Now guys, this particular decision is very much symbolic because of the following reasons. Number one, it has been seen that into the present times, the student forces are being delegitimized. It has been said that any kind of dissent can never be tolerated, and this particular thing is not good into the spirit of freedom of speech and expression. Then guys, further it was said that the Disha Ravi, she also talked with the Khalistani separatist groups, and therefore she should be kept into the detention. But guys, onto this also, the judge had held that just talk with a group with the dubious credential should not be used to consider someone as culpable. So into this particular spirit, we can see that the decision is a milestone. However, it has been provided that such decision should not be rare, because it is seen that now even the judiciary is sharing the government paranoia. It needs to be more and more routine. So guys, that is all which has been provided into this article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it talks about the new reforms that are needed into the science in India. Now guys, into this article, it has been provided that the 28th February is celebrated as the National Science Day, and onto the National Science Day, there could be certain suggestions that can be taken up. First of all, India should be appreciated because the National Science Foundation of the USA had declared in 2019 that India was the third largest publisher of the peer-reviewed science and engineering journal articles. And guys, the average growth rate of India from 2008 has been very much impressive, that is 10.73%, whereas the China's growth rate has been low, that is 7.81%. Now guys, this is a very good thing, but at the same time, it is not the entire reason to cheer up, because the impact that has been created by the India's publication is not that much good. In terms of impact, India's score is just 0.7. At least it needed to be more than 1. And guys, India is way behind than the US, China, as well as the European Union. Then the next area of concern is the number of patents that are filed by India. Into this particular direction, guys, according to the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, it has been provided that India's patent application has been very much low. Only 2053 patent application was made by India in 2019. whereas China made more than 58,900 application and USA made more than 57,800 applications. So guys, in comparison to this, India has to go much longer way. Now guys, into this particular direction, it has been provided that already in 2016 government had initiated the National Intellectual Property Right Scheme, that is the IPR policy 2016. And the aim of this particular scheme is to stimulate a dynamic, vibrant, and balanced intellectual property rights system in India. It wanted to enhance the human capital development. But guys, still much more to be done rather than 2016 policy. Guys, we need to learn from the China. It just filed the 276 patent application in 1999, and now it is filing nearly 59,000 applications. Now guys, into the article it has been provided that government's approach is to enhance the science endeavor in India by its timely science and technology policies. Into this particular direction guys, after 1947, four science policies have been initiated by the government of India, and the draft of the fifth policy has been kept into the public domain. Now guys, here into the article we can see that India's first science policy was adopted in 1958 by the name of the Scientific Policy Resolution, and it aimed at enhancing the scientific enterprise, and the many of the institution promoting the science national laboratories was laid. And by 1980 India had developed an advanced scientific infrastructure, and there are large number of scientific personnel, scientists, etc. Then guys, the second science policy came in 1983, and its focus was to enhance the technological self reliance and to utilize the technology to benefit the all sections of the society. Then guys, the science and technology policy of 2003 came. Now this was the first science policy after the 1991 economic liberalization, and it aimed to increase the investment in research and development, and it was brought to 0.7%. Moreover guys, the scientific and energy research board was also established to promote the research regime in India. And then guys, finally the fourth science policy, that is the 2013 India's science policy came, and for the first time it included the word innovation in its scope. And guys, it was called as the science, technology and the innovation policy. The focus was to make India as one of the top 5 global scientific leaders. And guys, this was to be achieved by building the partnership with the states, with the research institution, and a kind of a sustainable developmental regime was to be made. And guys, even at the international projects, the collaboration was made, such as the collaboration into the Large Hadron Collider project into the European Union. And now guys, finally into the 2021, the science, technology and innovation policy, the STIP 2020 has been released. Now guys, this STIP policy 2020 is having large number of ambitious aims. For example, number one, it aims that the full-time researchers in India are to be at least doubled. Then guys, number two, the GDP contribution for the research in India will be doubled into the coming times. Then thirdly, it has been provided that India will be made as the third superpower into the world into the upcoming 10 years, that is in one decade. And then guys, there is one more very good thing that has been taken up by the government, that is the one nation one subscription. Guys, see, there are large number of reputed journals that are being published, but guys, many of them are not available to the small libraries as well as to individuals. Now guys, via the central subscription, they will be made available to all the research organizations, libraries, scholars, researchers, etc. Then finally, it has also been provided into the STIP that often it has been seen that the private participation into the research and development has been very much less. So therefore, the state government will provide the incentives to the MNCs, to the research labs, so that they can carry the innovation. And then further, the STIP 2020 is also very good because it has also talked about the representation, and representation of the different genders, women, transgender will be promoted. Then guys, now government is also taking up the science diplomacy, and into the science diplomacy we can see that India is offering the COVID-19 vaccines to many of the countries. Moreover guys, India is also inviting the countries such as the India's neighborhood for the collaboration into that how the vaccines efficacy can be enhanced. Moreover guys, Indian scientific diaspora is also being invited for the collaboration. And finally, there is one more good thing that has been done into the policy, that is taking up a decentralized approach for the policy development. So guys, this is a good thing that has been taken up, and if all such kind of things are implemented into the final version also, then a good development into the science scene in India can be taken up. So guys, that is all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article has been taken up from the Indian Express, and it is talking about the caracal, which is a wild cat, and it has been put into the list of critically endangered species by the National Board for Wildlife as well as the Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Guys, please keep it into the mind that critically endangered, vulnerable are the also status which are given by the IUCN Red List, but it is not IUCN Red List, rather it is the NBWL and MOEFCC. Now guys, the caracal, it is also found into the other countries such as into the countries of Africa, Middle East, Central and South Asia. Now guys, when we talk about the caracal, its number in the Africa they are high, but into the Asia their number are pretty much declining, particularly into the India. Therefore its name has to be put into the critically endangered species. Now guys, its name caracal, it means elongated black ears, and into the India it is called as the Sia Ghosh. And guys, when we talk about the history of the caracal in India, then even into the Indus Valley civilization, the traces of the caracal has been found. And historically, they have been valued because they have a particular ability that they can catch the flying birds. Their agility is very much appreciated, and therefore into the hunting they have been utilized. Even it has been provided that during the times of the Firoz Shah Tughlaq, there were designated Sia Goshdar Khana. They were the stables where large number of these caracals were kept. Moreover, guys, into the Abu Fazl's Akbar Nama, the mention of the caracal has been made. Guys, apart from the Akbar Nama, other texts such as the Anwar-e Sayali, Tuti Nama, Khamsai Nazmi and the Shahnama, their name has been again mentioned. Now guys, when we talk about the India, it has been seen that their number are consistently declining, and according to some estimates, it has been said that less than 50 caracal are there in India, and it might get extinct into the India into the times to come. Now guys, when we talk about India, the caracal earlier used to be found into the arid and semi-arid regions into the Rajasthan, Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Odisha, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. But today, its presence is only restricted to the Rajasthan, Kutch region of Gujarat and the parts of MP. And guys, further, when we talk about the reason of their declining number, it is not because of the hunting or killing. Rather, they are being sold as an exotic species to the people. Moreover, due to the urbanization, also their habitat is declining and they are dying. So guys, the name of the caracal has been put into a list of the critically endangered species. So guys, that is all about this particular thing. I hope that you have understood it. And guys, please do utilize as the question into the prelims onto such kind of thing could be asked. So that is all for the today's newspaper analysis. Thank you so much.